Hello, happy Saturday. It's September 28th when I'm filming this. I wanted to come on because I've been really thinking about this topic and it's been coming up for me a lot this week. And so I wanted to speak about kind of the dark truths of spiritual awakening, what they don't tell you about the healing journey, is what this title is going to be. So the healing journey, it is very unique to each and every one of us. As my guides always tell me, one size does not fit all. And the thing about the healing journey, about spiritual awakening that nobody really tells you is that healing is not linear. It is not a straight line. It is not a straight path. And it takes as long as it takes. So sometimes it's years. Sometimes it's faster. But we all go through our own unique process of healing. And I really do believe that our soul chooses certain experiences, certain people, certain situations and circumstances to go through to bring us into spaces of healing. So the thing about the healing journey that can be very challenging, and what I had like a misperception of, or the assumption that I had before I started my spiritual path, was like, I'm going to heal and life is just going to be better. Everything's going to be better. Everything's going to be easier. And that's just not true. You will do a significant amount of healing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything gets easier for you. What it does mean is that you become the healed version of yourself. And because of that, the way you respond to certain situations, to certain circumstances is better. And it's a more aligned response to the healed version of you. And because of that, it's like, it's not so much that your life gets better, it's that you get better. And so you're better able to handle certain things that come up and better able to deal with certain situations and problems that kind of come into your awareness, into your experience. You're given solutions sometimes easier than you would in the past, because you're not allowing yourself to be in a place where there's so much emotional upheaval that you're adding to the chaos that is going on in your life. And so for those, all of us are at different paths of our journey. All of us are at different levels of healing and different levels of consciousness. But it's important to understand, and I know this is cliche and it's said all the time in different spiritual communities, but where you are at is exactly where you're meant to be. That is so true. Truer words have never been spoken. Everything that's you're experiencing, whether internally or whether that's showing up for you in your external environment, is showing you where healing needs to take place, where you've already healed, and what more work and what more healing can be done in a specific situation. And I think on the spiritual path, one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's all love and light, and that's not true. A lot of times your healing journey will reveal to you the relationships, the connections, the jobs, every aspect of your life that is not aligned to love, that is not aligned to balance, that is not about light. It's going to show you the darkness so that you can heal it. And sometimes your guides and your spiritual team are going to put you in certain situations where you have to confront and face your fears, where you have to confront and face your ego, where you have to confront and face maybe choices that were not based upon love, and choices that were not based upon your highest good, and where you've got to go through those circumstances and lessons to gain the wisdom of that experience, so that, because life is cyclical, when something else similar happens at a different time, you've got the tools and you've learned from your past and previous experiences, and you're taking that learning and that wisdom into the new. And that was one of the things that really showed up for me this week. I've had a very chaotic and stressful week where the past me would have kind of like unraveled, or maybe, kind of gone into victimhood and gone into a lot of deep, heavy despair and depression. And today, and that's why I wanted to do this video, today I'm just seeing and acknowledging and recognizing how much I have healed, how much I have grown. Even a year ago, if I had this week a year ago, exactly last year, I would not have handled myself and handled certain situations in the way that I have shown up and handled myself this week. And so part of the healing journey that's beautiful, though, is being able to see how you're not doing the same things in the past that would sabotage you, that would throw you back, how you see and recognize how you're choosing to move beyond karmic cycles, move beyond trauma, still have healthy boundaries and stand up for yourself, but not allow yourself to be pulled down by the emotional manipulation or the behaviors and actions of others. And so the one thing that they don't tell you about the healing journey is that it's okay to walk away. You have a right to choose and prioritize your peace, and you, as you become the healed version of yourself, are going to begin to make choices that bring you peace, whether that is ghosting someone, whether that is cutting a cord, burning a bridge. Sometimes you need to burn a bridge. If someone's been disrespecting you, if someone's been stealing from you, if someone's been harming you in any way, if they're narcissistic abuse or any other abuse tactics or any other sort of psychological or spiritual warfare tactics, if they've been sending that energy towards you, you have a right to say, enough, I am done with this, and completely cut ties without any explanation. So sometimes that means walking away gracefully. Sometimes that means ghosting someone. Sometimes that means, you disengage from a certain situation. You have a right to your peace, and you have a right to the things that make you feel good, the things that make you feel safe. The other thing is that, and they don't tell you this a lot, but all of us have experienced this, when we begin healing, because of the spiritual law of correspondence, like energy is resonant, like attracts like. That's kind of like a simplified version of the law of correspondence. When you're no longer of a like energy or a like vibration, there's things that are going to naturally fall away. People, situations, jobs, career paths that just because they're not aligned with the healed version of you, that you're going to have to distance yourself or separate from. And a lot of times this looks like, it's almost like you feel like you're being punished by the universe for embarking on a healing journey, because people may reject you. Situations that you once loved, like they no longer resonate with you, and things come to an end. And so there is a lot of sadness and feelings of loss, which is natural, and it's part of the healing process. Grief is part of the process of healing. But because of the law of correspondence, when you are in a different vibration, the things that you could tolerate before no longer apply. And so you'll start to see, as you come through more healing, that You're not attracted to the same people. You're not maybe watching the same things that you used to watch on TV or social media. You don't want to be in certain situations, in certain spaces that make you feel uncomfortable. And again, people in your life, this could be family, this could be partners, this could be friends, this could be work environments, people in your life who aren't used to seeing that version of you could have a very negative reaction to you no longer people pleasing, no longer being and wanting to be in codependent situations, no longer allowing yourself to be abused or manipulated. And so when you start setting boundaries, they're going to definitely try to push your boundaries, try to trigger you, try to cross your boundaries. And you just have to, again, stand up for yourself, say no. And it's because the healed version of you knows that you're worthy of love, respect, support. And I'm at a point in my life where I just have zero tolerance for people's games and emotional manipulation. Like 11:11, as I said that, you are either going to come correct or there's nothing between us. If you cannot have a conversation with me when I know that you're lying, but you're still trying to play games, and I may not call out your lie, I may just sit back and observe, because the healed version of me is going to choose peace. And so I might just be like, okay, I'm listening to everything that you're saying, but I also know that you're not being authentic and you're not being true in this moment. If you're always going to show up that way, even with little things, like I'm just going to be done. So that's been a big thing for me this week. But where it used to trigger me, where I used to get upset, I'm honestly just seeing it for everything that it is, sending love and compassion to that person and those people, but also just pulling my energy back, where I'm setting healthy boundaries, where I'm saying no, where I'm not allowing myself to be manipulated because of what somebody else wants me to do in a way that benefits them but harms me. And so the healed version of you is not going to allow yourself to receive harm from others in any way, shape, or form, even the people that you love, especially the people that you love. And so this is also true of divine counterparts. You know, if someone is consistently inconsistent with their communication, with their behavior, there's a point when you come into your healing path where you're just like, I can love you from a distance, but I'm not going to engage in this back and forth. I'm not going to engage in whatever this is because it's not for my highest good. And so why this is all coming through, I don't know. I just had a week where I realized and recognized I'm responding differently to different situations in my life, which has shown me how much I've healed and grown. But equally, I'm also giving myself more grace and more peace and not feeling guilty about saying no to people, even the people that I love, even people in my family. I'm not allowing myself to let the choices and decisions of others make me feel bad. I'm done with that. So you have to understand that part of the healing journey sometimes means like going it alone, going off on your own, not being part of a group. And that can be very terrifying when you're used to a certain relationship structure, a certain family structure. But if you're prioritizing your healing, you're prioritizing your peace. Point blank, period. And people who cannot bring you peace, people who are constant drama, people who are constantly, trying to manipulate you, people who are constantly lying to you. And you know it, you see it, you feel it, the vibe's off, things are wrong, but they're still trying to push their agenda. You have every right to say, no, nope, not doing this. Thank you. Thanks for playing. We're good. So part of the healing may be just needing to observe and not fight. The healed version of you knows that not every battle is worth fighting, because sometimes you're just wasting energy and time in something that is a losing battle. Also, the healing journey, as I started this video, because it's not linear, because it's not a straight path, you may go years thinking that you have healed from something, some traumatic event in your childhood, some traumatic event in your past. And then all of a sudden, something happens, something takes place, and it kind of puts you in that space again. That's normal. It doesn't mean that you didn't heal. It just means that healing has different layers and levels. Kind of like peeling the layers of an onion. And you're going to see that sometimes with healing, you'll reach a new level of awareness, a new level of consciousness, a new vibration. But with that new level comes new devils. You know that expression, new levels, new devils. It's kind of like a video game where you've beaten one level and then you're playing the next level, and then there's a new opponent or a new situation that comes up that's even kind of maybe more challenging than the last one you went through. And again, it's not an indication that you haven't done healing work. It's not an indication that you haven't grown or that you haven't raised your vibration. It's an indication that you're ready for more. God gives us what we can handle, not going to give us more than we can handle. And I know a lot of us feel like, but I'm at my limit. I'm handling as much as I can handle. But when you're in times like that, that's the time to really step back and reflect and say, okay, how can I respond differently? Or how can I change my situation and circumstances? Because that's the thing about the healing journey too, is when you are in that space of healing yourself truly, you're taking accountability for your part in things. Again, this is not victim blaming at all. This is not to say like you deserve that abusive relationship or you deserve to be betrayed. No, that is not what I'm saying with this video. But what I am saying is, especially as you grow in intuition, there's moments, there's little nudges, there's synchronicities. Sometimes there's warnings and red flags that we, and myself included when I say we, don't listen to. We see them, but we don't listen to them. We don't take a step back at that time. We don't really pay attention to the signs and the synchronicities, because in our minds, we're like, oh, well, that person loves me, so they would never do this. Or, you know, this job is really secure, so I have nothing to worry about. Or, you know, again, our egos will put us in situations where we justify not listening to the intuition. But there's always some level of like an intuitive nudge, and sometimes it's very, very subtle that something is going to go bad or something is a little off. And part of the healing journey is learning to take accountability for the times where we dismissed that nudge, where we didn't trust. I love Rebecca Campbell in, I think, what Oracle card deck. I think it's like one of her first ones. Is it Shine Your Light Oracle cards? She has a card that's called Trust the Niggle. And it talks about this very thing, like there's a nudge, there's a little like something that you're feeling, and like you have to trust it. And when you trust it, a lot of times you can avoid certain situations that didn't need to happen. But when we don't trust it, a lot of times we run into certain pitfalls in certain situations. And those come up again for our learning, for our healing. And so part of the healing journey is just taking accountability for your part and everything that's played out. One thing my guides are always telling me, and I've witnessed this in my own life, and so I know it to be true. The higher the vibration, the higher the outcome. And so when I'm coming from a space of a very high and balanced vibration and dealing with a circumstance or a situation or a person, I get a higher outcome than when I'm coming from my lower ego, my wounded self, my trauma, my hurt feelings, and then lashing out. Usually that just instigates something that's a lower outcome. And so part of this healing path and healing journey that they don't tell you is that, like, you can't fix everything, but you can heal yourself. And you can come to a place of healing where you're at peace and you accept everything that has taken place, and you know that you can move on to better things for yourself. Okay? That doesn't mean that every relationship can be fixed. It doesn't mean that every situation that's broken or fallen apart is going to be healed and resolved. No, it just means that you have the power to overcome what broke you down. You have the power. It is your God-given right to heal, because in spiritual truth, everything is healed, everything is whole. And so you are not broken, you are not lacking, you are not less than, you are worthy, you are whole at all times. And when you come into that knowing, you understand that you just go through experiences that help you to reinforce your wholeness. We get out of balance. We get out of alignment with our truth, with our authentic self. And part of the healing process is just always checking in, always coming back to balance, always coming back to center. And so for those of us right now who are going through a lot of confusion, a lot of challenges, understand those are for your benefit. They're not to block you or keep you from your desires. They're to get you to see where you have internal blocks, where you have old belief systems, where you have old trauma and old wounding that's keeping you in a vibration where you're not aligned to what you wish to receive. So the healing journey is a constant journey. You're never done. You're never done until you're not in the incarnation, until you're not in the physical anymore. You're always going to be healing and growing. You're going to have new experiences. You're going to have new situations and challenges. And it's just a continuous staircase of evolution, kind of like the Light Seer Tarot Hierophant card, where there's the staircase and the guy sitting cross-legged, crisscross applesauce at the bottom of the staircase, and he's smiling because he understands, like, yes, I'm here at the bottom of the staircase and I've come a long way, but I have an infinite amount of healing and learning and growing and expanding to go. And so just be really graceful and really gentle with yourself through your healing process. Again, it's a process. It is not a one-time event. Very, very rarely do we go through what I like to call an instantaneous, spontaneous healing. It can happen, but it's very rare. Most of us incarnated into Earth, into the Earth school, to learn and grow through experience. And so when you can not judge your experience and not judge your healing path, you are who you are, you've been where you've been, and now you're here. And so when you can just look at that, own it, acknowledge it, you'll understand that, again, nothing has gone wrong. You've just gained a wisdom and a world of experiences. For me, I've always said this, and I'll say this for the rest of my life. I hope that I'm moving and healing and expanding beyond it. But up until, the first 40 years of my life, I'm 42 and it's getting hot now. So sorry. I'm like, up until like the first 40 years of my life, I had to learn every lesson the hard way to actually learn it. And so now I'm wanting ease and grace and to learn through ease and grace, but I still have challenges coming up. I'm just learning to bring more ease and grace to the lessons and to the experience that I'm in, learning to find peace in the chaos, and learning that as bad or as challenging as something is, like, it's here today, gone tomorrow. I'm seeing that energy speed up as well. So it's like, yeah, I may have had a stressful week with a lot of different things coming at me, but today is Saturday. I'm getting to be outside. I'm resting. I'm taking care of myself. And in this moment, all is well. All is healed. I am whole. I am centered. I am grounded. And so the one thing about the healing journey too, that is a big sense of comfort, is like, once you tap into your sacred space, your sacred heart, deeply tap into your soul and your connection with source, your connection with spirit, you always have that sacred space to come back to at any time, regardless of what's happening externally. That space where everything is whole, where you are healed, where you are balanced, where you are centered, where you are free, is always available to you. It's not a relationship. It's not a job. It's not a certain amount of money in the bank. It's not your home. Those things can be very healing, and they can be sanctuaries and sacred spaces for you and myself. And I wish that for everyone, is that's what I'm evolving towards. That's what I'm growing towards, is to allow like my relationships and my connections and my home space and every area and aspect of my life to be a sacred space for me. But until I get that, I still have my sacred space. And that's the one beautiful aspect of the healing journey, is that you always have your sacred space. It is within you. It is you. It is your light. And so don't forget that. Don't forget that in spiritual truth, you're meant to be healed and whole. Pain is inevitable when we're in the 3D experience, but suffering is optional. You don't have to choose suffering to heal, but you do have to acknowledge and be brutally honest with yourself about where the discomfort is within you, what's troubling you, what's causing disturbance in your mind and in your heart and in your body. You need to be aware and open and honest about that to yourself, so that you can heal, so that you can reveal it to yourself. And that revelation brings about healing, because again, when you become more healed and when you're on your healing journey, you don't want to choose discomfort. You don't want to choose imbalance. You don't want to choose drama. You don't want to choose pain. You want to choose the things that bring you comfort, bring you support, bring you peace, bring you joy, bring you abundance, make you feel lighter, make you feel love, make you feel happy, make you feel that energy of serenity. So I'm just tapping in to see if anything else wants to come through. So the key points of this video is, number one, healing is not linear. It is not a straight path. Give yourself the grace, regardless of what situation. You may have been with your DM for a 3-month period of time 10 years ago, and you're still healing from the loss and the breakup and the grief. Don't let anybody tell you that your feelings and your grief are not valid. Everybody has their own experience. Everybody has their own path to healing, path to wholeness, and their own process that their soul and their higher self have divinely designed for them to go through. Okay? So don't judge yourself. Give yourself grace and love on your healing journey. Number 2, recognize that when you're not triggered the same way, when you can see through the bullshit, when you're not tolerating the drama anymore, that is a sign that you have healed, okay? When you're just like, I can't deal with this, I don't want to put up with this, I'm not engaging with this, that's a sign you have healed. And so congratulate yourself and acknowledge your healing. Even if you're not where you want to be, you still have healed enough to say, I deserve better, I am worthy of good, I am worthy of respect, I am worthy of value, and anything that's not bringing that into my life needs to be removed. Even if you're gracefully removing yourself from certain situations or people or circumstances, again, that is a sign that you've healed, okay? So don't judge your process, don't judge your path, understand you're exactly where you need to be. And last but not least, because you've gone through a healing process, even though you may not be 100% healed, you can go within, connect to source, connect to yourself, connect to your heart, connect to your soul, to seek sanctuary, to seek guidance, to seek peace. It is not an external experience. It is an internal experience. You're healing. And yes, when you do get to a certain level, and yes, there are certain relationships and certain connections that can be very healing. There's certain, if you guys watch my videos and you feel like it inspires you, that is the point. I am the lighthouse. I am meant to be a channel for that love and that comfort and that support from the divine. But I am just a channel. Any channel that you watch on YouTube is just a channel. You are source. And that source is always within you. You do not have to seek it externally. With saying that, again, there are beautiful connections and beautiful relationships and beautiful situations in the external world that can be very healing, very uplifting, very inspiring. But true healing comes from within. True healing is the work that you've done on yourself and the work that your spiritual team is doing through you. And so just remember, you can always connect to that source at all times because you are source. You are the light. You are unconditional love. You are divinity. And so when you remember that and you connect to your divinity, whatever's ailing you, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever's causing you disturbance, in those moments where you're connected to source, all is well. You are whole, you are healed, you are loved, you are supported, and you are free. All right, I think that's all that wanted to come through today. I am sending unconditional love and peace and support. Thank you for being a part of my healing journey, and I am most grateful if I am a part of your healing journey. And if you get little nuggets of wisdom or a video or a prayer or a reading that I do gives you some sort of hope or guidance or comfort, I am most grateful for that. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.